This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. Hey Darklings, Kaylin here. We know our generation has a surplus of pretty darkness in common, and if there's one thing unpacking our upbringing has taught us, it's just how essential therapy is for shining a flashlight on the darkness in our own lives. I don't know where I'd be without mine. I believe every human can benefit from the perspective of a licensed therapist. Whether you're familiar with your own inner workings or you're just looking for a listening ear, you can give BetterHelp online therapy a try by going to betterhelp.com/prettydark and receive 10% off your first month. I get that online therapy can be tricky, but I've been seeing my therapist online since 2020, and I'm here to tell you that it's absolutely worth it. Getting started is always the hardest part, and BetterHelp makes that easy. You can begin right from your phone or computer in whatever way makes you most comfortable, via good old-fashioned phone calls, video chats, or even messaging, if that's more your style. We enjoy this frightful nostalgia and learning about how it all connects, but Darklings know we're also passionate about healing and growing from what we learn. If you dare to do the same, head to betterhelp.com/prettydark. There you can answer a few questions, and BetterHelp will match you to a professional who has years of experience helping people like us. Plus, you can switch therapists at any time, so you're sure to find the right connection. Millennials are ditching the stigma and owning our mental health. And with BetterHelp, you can build a relationship with a professional all from the comfort of your own home, just how we like it. Visit betterhelp.com/prettydark or choose That's Pretty Dark podcast during sign up and enjoy 10% off your first month. That's betterhelp.com/prettydark.
After 10,000 years, I'm free! It's time to conquer
Earth! You're listening to That's Pretty Dark,
The podcast where we talk about all the entertainment that scared us as children
and still haunts us as adults. So grab your flashlight and join us as we take a frightfully nostalgic look over our shoulders
and under our beds
and in our closets.
And together, we'll realize, whoa, that's pretty dark.
Happy spooky season.
The spookiest season.
My God, it's finally here.
Seeing the little ghosty decorations back up in the tree out front of my house has awakened a certain kind of energy.
Oh yeah, I got me some hanging ghosties. I got some standing up ghosties. They're really awesome. I don't know what it is, but it seems like every business has Halloween merch this year. It's like blowing
I agree.
up.
Yeah. Even Aldi had like ghost like garland and like table runners and stuff. I was like, really? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I feel like we were like a subculture for a minute and now we're just fully mainstream.
Everybody's capitalizing on this. Everybody wants to make money. And how you do that is you appeal to the masses.
That is capitalism, I suppose.
And most of us love Halloween. You know, Tim Burton famously said, for some of us, Halloween is every day. And that's always been true for me.
Me too.
But I think that's a sentiment that like more and more of us can relate to.
Yeah.
Probably because of the, current
state of
the affairs of this country.
Yeah. I mean, looking back at our History of Halloween episodes, we both talked so much about how fond we were of Halloween as children and how it continues to delight and enchant because it is that time when the veil is thin and there is just so much possibility and potential and everything feels really kinetic and that is carried through and maybe this season more than ever. Who knows?
Not just the veil between life and death, but the veil between the present and the past to our childhood.
Imagination and reality.
So if that's how you feel, if that's you out there listening to this episode, and the societal shift to all things spooky and macabre this time of year feels a lot like coming home, then you're in the right place. So welcome to That's Pretty Dark podcast. We are your ghost hosts on tonight's Pretty Dark journey. My name is Christian.
And my name is Kaylin.
And since our schedule keeps getting so messed up thanks to life's incessant need to disrupt our well-laid plans.
Yeah, this isn't when we thought we'd be here.
We decided to go ahead and start our October festivities a little early this year to celebrate the arrival of autumn.
It's good for all of us. It's good for everyone.
So in honor of the autumn equinox, we're easing into the season of the witch with what is probably a very unexpected choice for this occasion. But I think it's fitting in more ways than one.
I look forward to you convincing us of that.
We'll see what I can pull out of my hat next episode, part 2. This is the cult classic spawn of one of the most successful franchises ever created. Something so deliciously 90s it just couldn't have been done this way in any other era. Yes, tonight we're unearthing the purple egg. That is, The Storied History of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie. Which released in 1995 on either April 2nd or June 30th, depending on your source.
So we don't know for sure.
And since we're talking about Power Rangers, I want to give the microphone to Kaylin to tell us all about her love for this franchise and all the different colors of the rainbow that we get to see on these characters and how much she has embraced it in her adult life. She's really grown into her Power Rangers aesthetic as she gets older.
That's me.
You know, most people grow out of it. Kaylin grew into it, and I'm really impressed.
I really found it later in life.
I'm really proud. And honestly, I think it's brave.
If you can't tell by the biting sarcasm in Christian's voice, the Power Rangers have never really appealed to me as a person. Please don't come from me, Mighty Morphers.
You don't say. That's shocking.
Because even as a child, not just now, but even as a child, I saw through it as sort of a,
be careful.
How do I put this delicately?
Be careful.
A vapid money grab. I can remember being a child and thinking, this is just a bunch of other stuff that they put different colors on, right?
Yeah.
Like, and
different names.
I don't know if I'm
animals,
pleased or displeased to say
creatures.
That stance, that perspective was reinforced
well
by my watching of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie.
Let me ease your burden there. You're not wrong.
Okay, good.
You're not wrong.
Fantastic.
As we're going to learn tonight.
Then I don't have to feel bad about it.
It was a money grab. I don't know about vapid, but hey, you know what? Maybe what they did with it going forward, I can't speak to that. But I can tell you that it was created by a man whose goal was to make as much money as possible.
I mean, we're all here in capitalism. We all feel that pressure. We all feel it.
Yeah.
But I do feel like a lot of the things that we talk about on the show, there is that underlying heart of, you know, this is someone's expression. This is someone's art. This is someone's passion. And you might be able to tell us something more that can change my opinion. But I didn't feel the depth necessarily that I would have liked to feel.
It was a good idea. It was a very good idea. And there are multiple layers to who all created it. So for some of the creators, it was about artistic expression and it was about the joy of creating. But again, there are just multiple layers to how this was put on television. I, on the other hand, loved
I was about to say, I
Rangers.
should just flip the script and be like, Christian, please tell us about your lifelong love of this franchise, because I know you feel differently than I do.
It's not a lifelong love. I grew out of it, I would say pretty young, but for a while there, for a few years, it was one of my favorite shows. And I wasn't alone. My sister was into it, and so were our friends. They'd come over and we'd play Power Rangers. It was one of our favorite pastimes.
Yeah, I do
so
remember
we had some
that.
of the most fun.
Yeah, there were definitely some playground Power Rangers games, and I did engage with that, you know, in a social way, in a friendship way, absolutely.
It is fun.
But was I choosing it on my own when I was the one in charge of the remote? Not so much.
You guys want to play Mary-Kate and Ashley?
Exactly. See something with real depth and substance, okay?
But as far as superheroes go, I mean, these are pretty accessible characters. The whole concept behind Power Rangers is that anybody can be a Power Ranger as long as you believe in yourself.
And I am all for accessibility.
It had a pretty good message, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
And they had fun doing it. It's a fun show.
And that makes sense to me.
And, you know, if you let yourself be a kid again, you can still have fun with Power Rangers, which is what we're going to try to do tonight.
All right. You might be turning my tide. We'll see.
Again, the veil is thin. Look back to the past. Embrace your youth. So if I were to revise the IMDb summary, it might go a little something like this. When a giant purple egg is unearthed at a construction site in Angel Grove, eager galactic villains crack it open to release the most formidable adversary the Power Rangers have yet to face. This is the terrible, the purple Ivan Ooze, an ancient evil who wreaks vengeance on Zordon for imprisoning him millennia ago, thus stripping the Power Rangers of, well, their power, forcing them to seek an alternative source for that power on a distant planet, hoping they can return to Earth in time to save Zordon and stop Ivan Ooze from taking over the world.
Dun, dun, dun.
Not to mention killing all the kids' parents.
Yeah,
That's
pretty dark.
If they can return at all. This movie night is another milestone for us for a number of reasons. One, Power Rangers is probably the most successful franchise we've ever covered.
You think?
I think so.
Okay.
What's more successful than the Power Rangers franchise?
I mean, sure. Ubiquitous, I suppose.
Two, This is the first bit of superhero media we've ever touched. And 3, it's another one of the VHS tapes that I burned out as a kid. We've done most of Caitlin's, I think.
Yeah, I'm looking at the shelf. The choices, the options are narrowing as time goes on.
I keep adding more. I'm like, oh yeah, I watched that movie and this movie. But like Jumanji, I hadn't seen this one since I was young, so I could only vaguely remember the visuals and concepts that had me so damn obsessed with it all those many harvest moons ago. And I honestly started to worry that maybe it wasn't a good fit for the show until I watched it again. Because even though it was marketed as a family-friendly film, I feel that its true categorization is better described as a Venn diagram of 2 genres: superhero action-adventure and children's horror.
Okay.
And thanks to the psychopathic wiles of the evil Ivan Ooze, those 2 circles are pressed very closely together. This is just my opinion. Doesn't mean Caitlin will agree.
We'll see. Jury's out.
But like I said, I grew up loving Power Rangers, and I watched this movie religiously, and yet its visuals and concepts frightened me very much as a young boy. So if you're like Caitlin and this isn't your cup of tea, I'm still going to ask that you come along for this ride with us anyway, because I had no idea what I was getting myself into with this deep dive back into the past, but I'm very glad I chose to do so.
We're here with you. And I will say, learning the background always makes me find something to appreciate about everything we've ever covered.
I think that's what's going to happen because, it sheds the whole thing in a new light.
I may not have an affinity for the Power Rangers, but what I do have and what I think my true power is an open mind.
Wow. And to get you one of those back patters. Forget the back scratcher.
Hey, it's not just me. I hope.
I know what to get you for Christmas. Yeah, you. Actually, your gifts are behind me. I hope you can't see
Your
them.
gifts are behind me.
That's so funny.
You can't see them, though. They're definitely hidden.
Let me make sure. No, yeah, my camera's
It is, Check's notes, September. Christian and I still haven't exchanged birthday gifts this year.
Oh, shit. I keep forgetting about that. I'm just going to send them to your house.
Yeah, I've thought about doing that. But I have to meet your child.
And meet my house.
And meet your house.
And the deer that keep running through the backyard.
I'd like to meet them as well.
So without further ado, kids, it's Morphin time.
I was waiting for that one.
Once considered the most popular kids show on television.
Holy shit.
Power Rangers is a thread woven through time. In its 32 years and still counting, it's moved from Fox to ABC to Disney to Nickelodeon to Netflix. The toy company Bandai said that by 2001, just 8 years after the show first aired, Power Rangers had generated over $6 billion in toy sales alone.
Okay, well.
It was popular, Caleb, whether or not you liked it.
It's both validating and upsetting to me.
You just were never into the mainstream thing. It's okay.
Yeah, I was a counterculture kid from the start.
Going to church, loving Jesus.
Counterculture, am I right?
It seemed like everybody wanted a Power Ranger, and for a while at least, everybody wanted to be one. I sure did. Like I said, we played Power Rangers every weekend. Our friends would come over. I'd be Jason the Red Ranger because I was so cool. And it was so funny because my sister recently came back in town and her kids play with all of our old toys in my old bedroom. And they found our old Power Rangers, our Bandai Power Rangers toys. She sent me a picture of them. Aww. And was being all creepy, like, ooh, Jason misses you. Ooh. Yeah, that's apparently how much I loved Jason. I was obsessed.
Wow.
He was a role model for me, though.
Right.
Like, these guys were role models for young kids. That's the thing.
Yeah, I get that. And as I was watching
the message was positive. It was a good show.
It was crafted for that purpose, though. That's what just makes me... We'll get there.
It doesn't come without its problems and its issues, though, which I'm sure is not going to surprise anyone, especially you.
We'll see about that.
The background of how things are made and the problems people run into. Usually it's other people.
Right. But overall, hey, they did what they came to do, I reckon.
Made a shit ton of money. And this is all why just 2 years into the show's original series, the creators were able to capitalize on its success and produce a monster summer blockbuster that was based on a shot-in-the-dark Saturday morning children's program. The film was produced by Saban Entertainment, the Toei Company, and Fox Family Films, and was distributed by 20th Century Fox. And despite its reliance on violence and terrorism, and its insistence on the sexualization of its female characters, no matter what age they are.
Oh my God.
The film was rated PG. It was directed by Brian Spicer, who directed 2 episodes of Erie, Indiana, 2 episodes of Salute Your Shorts, 21 episodes of Parker Lewis Can't Lose,
Wow.
1 episode of The X-Files, 12 episodes of 24, and he did at least 1 episode of House, Bones, Castle, Heroes, Once Upon a Time, and Fringe.
One of those directors.
Guy's the real deal. And the story for the film was developed by John Camps and Arnie Olson. The actual screenplay was written by Arnie, who also wrote All Dogs Go to Heaven Too.
Woof.
Woof woof. But you'll never guess what John Camps went on to write. It's a reference from last episode.
Zathura?
Yes.
Whoa.
He wrote the screenplay for Zathura.
That's insane.
A freaking space adventure.
That's insane.
He also wrote The Borrowers and Ghost Town, which is probably the funniest movie I've ever seen.
Wow.
If you've never seen it, go watch it. Now, these are talented writers. But that isn't to say the movie wasn't just a longer, more expensive version of an episode from the TV show.
Yeah.
And that was very much on purpose. Because if there's one thing the show's creators believed in, other than making money, it was that you should never try to fix something that isn't broken.
Makes sense.
As with much of the media in this country, we have yet another billionaire to thank for a big chunk of our childhood nostalgia.
I don't like thanking billionaires for stuff, but
At least he wasn't a billionaire until he made Power Rangers.
wow.
And then sold it. And then bought it back, made it bigger, and then sold it again. And then bought it back again, made it even bigger than before, and sold it again for even more money.
This is a grift through and through.
The man is an evil genius, and his name is Haim Saban.
I see.
Anybody out there like Big Bad Beetleborgs, X-Men, the animated series, Sweet Valley High,
Sweet Valley High.
the Addams Family Reunion, maybe Casper Meets Wendy?
You know how I feel about Casper Meets Wendy.
How about the 25 Days of Christmas or the 13 Days of Halloween as it was known back in 98? We all have Haim Saban
I was about to say,
to thank for these and more,
please don't make me thank him.
at least tangentially, because much like Ted Turner, even though he didn't create the IP for 99% of the shows he produced or aired or syndicated, he recognized the potential and cultivated the conditions for the success of many of our childhood favorite programs.
And it is important. People that can see that, they know what the X factor is and how to leverage it.
It's often how they make that much money because they
Right.
can see what's there. I wish I had that superpower, believe me.
Man.
Now, I'm not saying this guy wasn't a shrewd businessman who employed unethical business tactics that led him to be sued no less than a dozen times. But he is the reason we're talking about Power Rangers tonight. So it's only fair that we give him his due. Haim Saban has lived a very interesting life. He was born in Alexandria, Egypt, but when he was 12, his Egyptian Jewish family immigrated to Israel, where Saban eventually found his way into music production. First, he toured with a band called the Lions of Judah, for which he was the manager, the tour promoter, and bassist, even though he didn't know how to play bass.
Whoa.
That was one of his conditions. He said, I'll do all this work for you, but you have to let me be in the band.
God.
It sounds like the nerd's origin story in a 90s teen comedy.
Yeah. It's pretty fun.
But it pretty much sums up his personality and established his approach to business from a very young age.
And not to be confused with Judah and the Lion, I reckon.
The Lions ended up touring through the UK and were signed by Polydor Records and appeared on the BBC show Color Me Pop.
I have a surprising and particular affinity for British pop music TV.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Top of the Pops, anybody?
But that all soon fizzled out, and Saban returned to Israel where he discovered the now famous Israeli musician Noam Kaniel and began producing Noam's music in Paris. Not only has Noam sold over 8 million records, but he wound up recording the theme music for the first anime to be telecast in France, which was a French dub of the anime UFO Robot Grandizer, which was renamed Goldorak for French audiences. I don't think Saban was directly involved in Noam doing the music for this anime, but the experience obviously planted a seed in his mind, because composing music for animated series quickly became his next big grift. While living in Paris, producing Noam's music, Saban met another Israeli-born musician named Shuki Levy, who at the time had quite a bit more success than Saban and Noam. He played clubs in Tel Aviv, he acted in Hair, the musical, he wrote a hit single with Aviva Paz that sold 2 million copies, and later he had 2 competitive entries in Eurovision, one of which actually made it as the 1981 Israeli entry.
Wow.
So, with his eyes turning into giant dollar signs, Saban proposed that he and Levy go into business together, saying, "We'll be co-composer. You do the composing, I'll do the deals." So they moved to LA in 1980, founded Saban Productions, and started soundtracking children's programs, including The Real Ghostbusters, Inspector Gadget, Dragon Quest, He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, She-Ra, Princess of Power, and so many others. I wish I could just decide to do something and then just do it.
I know, right?
I'm going to go just score animated children's cartoons.
I feel that way when I read memoirs or biographies and they're just like, I went on to do this and then I did this thing and then this job happened. And I'm just like, but how?
How many people have moved out to Los Angeles just going, I'm going to do this thing, and then end up being like a Uber driver or like a waiter, a barista?
Far more than have actually achieved the stuff. So
I'm not sure why Noam wasn't included in this venture, but I'd imagine it's because he was garnering, so much success on his own without moving to the other side of the planet. But looking at his career, he did do music for a lot of these same shows, and eventually did music for some of the later installments of Power Rangers. So
they were friends. They were connected,
right,
yeah.
And they continued working together in some capacity. But you might be asking, if Saban was a music producer, how'd he start producing TV shows? Well, sometimes, to boost your own supply, you have to manufacture the demand. For Saban, that meant producing the shows that would then need his music.
That is a very roundabout way to produce more music. Sounds like a lot more work.
Yeah, but also a lot more money.
Right.
Kaylin, you're not thinking right. You got to get your head in the game, man.
Man, if I had some money to start out producing shows, I'm sure I'd be thinking like that.
He began doing this just 4 years into this new venture in 1984 with his first kid show, Kid Video. This was a music-themed show where 4 live-action teenage bandmates are transported to a magical cartoon world called The Flip Side by the evil Master Blaster who wants to keep them as his musical slaves.
Whoa.
And I watched the first episode of this. It's a lot of fun. The dialogue is punchy like the old Scooby-Doo dialogue, except it's mostly music puns.
Who doesn't love a good music pun?
I think you'd like it, or you would have liked it as a kid.
Yeah, I mean, as a kid, I think that's right up my alley.
Kid Video's animation was done by the French-American animation studio DIC Enterprises, who was actively in a creative partnership with Tokyo Movie Shinsha when they animated Little Nemo, Adventures in Slumberland.
When worlds collide.
Saban's next children's program was called Macron 1, which aired in 1986 and was an English dub of 2 different anime series that were spliced together, Go Shogun and Aku Dai Sakuzen Strungle. I'm sure I butchered that.
I was going to be impressed.
Then he did something that I thought was really sketchy at first, but then I realized how bold it actually was. See, DIC was founded by a French animator named Jean Chalopin, who co-created Inspector Gadget, The Real Ghostbusters, Sonic Underground, and Dennis the Menace. Chalopin left DIC in the late 80s and began a new animation studio called C&D in 1987. So what Saban did, out of loyalty to Chalopin, was procure the foreign rights to DIC's children's programming library and then sold them to C&D, Chalopin's new company.
I see.
Leading DIC to sue Saban for damages. But, like I said, he's an evil genius because DIC didn't stop working with him. Despite the lawsuit, they actually expanded their collaborative efforts.
Why?
With Saban.
How?
I have no clue.
Magic words, I guess.
Maybe they were in too deep into a contract or something, or they had put too much into him to then pull away. Maybe it would have,
and it's business,
destroyed.
So it's the kind of thing where just because you did this thing over here,
we have to sue you.
We still want to make your money.
Yeah.
With you.
For appearances, if nothing else. We have to sue you.
We're not that worried about it. We'll settle it.
Yeah.
Deal.
You're a man made of gold. You're King Midas. So, we want that.
Yeah, we can't let you go.
Don't do it again.
When it's about the bottom line, yeah, you never know with all those kinds of deals. I just feel like I step one toe out of line anywhere and everybody I've ever worked with or done anything with is going to be like, never mind, you suck. Cancel culture, you know?
And I think that easily could have happened, but the guy was magic.
I believe in repair. And
because they doubled down, this allowed him to further expand his own enterprise by creating multiple divisions of Saban Productions that could then go into business with other companies, culminating in the renaming of his company to Saban Entertainment in September of 1989. One of these divisions was a home video venture called Saban Video, which began in 1990 and did business with a company called Video Treasures, who handled distribution. And this is another pretty dark connection with another film that we've covered, although it's a pretty tenuous connection, so bear with me.
I'm ready to connect some dots.
See, Video Treasures later merged with a company called Star Maker Entertainment to form Anchor Bay Entertainment, which I'm pretty sure we mentioned in our Watcher in the Woods series, because they'd been licensed to distribute the DVD of Watcher in the Woods. But there's that rumored conspiracy that Disney killed the DVD release because the guy who worked there, Scott Bosco, had restored the original version of the movie.
That's right.
That would have been superior to Disney's. So they were like, can't have that.
Can't have him making money.
We were supposed to do a Patreon episode that just like broke down that whole conspiracy.
Feud,
and we never did.
I remember. Whoops.
But if you listen to that series we did, I think I mentioned it. Anyway, in 1991, Saban struck a home video deal with Prism Entertainment. They gave him the international distribution rights to select titles. In the year after that, he syndicated 2 of his own children's programs. And he just had so much success all around that by the end of 1992, even Marvel wanted to work with him, which is when they joined forces to produce X-Men the Animated Series, which they sold to Fox Kids, because the president of Fox Kids at the time was a lady named Margaret Loesch, who had previously been the president and CEO of Marvel Productions.
Wow.
She and Stan Lee went way back. And the next show that Saban pitched was
Power Rangers.
But to go ahead and close the circle on Saban's contributions to our childhoods, he was so instrumental in the success of Fox Kids that they merged with Saban Entertainment in '96 to form Fox Kids Worldwide.
Wow.
And then made an offer to purchase the Family Channel, which became Fox Family in 1997. And in October of 2001, Saban sold Fox Family to the Walt Disney Company, who changed the program's name to ABC Family, which is now Freeform.
Yeah. Even in our early episodes, we talked about how cannibalistic the whole TV industry is. It's one conglomerate eating another one, birthing another one, all over the place.
Same with the publishing industry, too. It's wild stuff.
And it's so many layers of that history and that money and where that's going that it would be very difficult to do anything different.
I just find it so interesting how this works and how all these different threads and all this, it's like a massive spider web.
Yeah.
But all the spiders are the same people.
Yeah, the spiders are all the same.
Coming across over and over again.
Yeah, there's like 6 spiders and then, all these infinite webs.
They keep eating all the other insects.
Remember it, kids. Class solidarity.
It's a class war, not a culture war.
Hear, hear.
In this acquisition, Disney totally absorbed all of Saban's assets, rebranding Saban Entertainment Inc. as BVS Entertainment. BVS as in Buena Vista Studios. But this wasn't the first time Saban and Disney had dealings. You're going to find this very interesting, Kaylin.
I am positive I will.
Back in '96, there was a singular joint production between Disney and Saban Entertainment. And it's one of your favorite obscure Disney films.
True Confessions?
Nope. We mention it over and over on the podcast. I See a Winter Formal. A car crash.
Oh, Susie Q.
Yeah.
Susie Q.
Saban made Susie Q.
Of course he did.
Susie Q was executive produced and co-written by Shuki Levy, Saban's partner.
That checks out. That one never felt like Disney to me. I mean, we've talked before about how each channel and network and studio kind of had their own, obviously a brand, a voice, a feel, a vibe. But for something like Susie Q, I only ever saw it on the Disney Channel, but it never felt to me like a Disney Channel movie. And that would be why.
But that's the thing. You can't shit on Power Rangers that much because without Power Rangers, there's no Susie Q.
I'll allow it.
Okay. But as we're saying, none of this would have been possible if Saban and Fox Kids had never teamed up. Before he came along, the #1 Fox Kids show was Bobby's World, which was created and voice acted by none other than Howie Mandel, the voice of Gizmo. Bobby's World was the network's claim to fame until '93, when Haim Saban created the show Power Rangers. Many other great shows came along afterward, namely Animaniacs, The Magic School Bus, Goosebumps, Batman the Animated Series, etc., etc. But because it dominated the block schedule and very quickly became a lucrative franchise, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers was indisputably the most successful. But where did the idea for this show come from?
Every other thing that any of them had ever seen that made money.
Well, what I was going to say was, that's an extremely complicated question. And I have tasked myself with answering.
Okay, there's nuance here.
There is a whole lot.
Who would have thunk it?
Because conceptually, the idea that became the show Power Rangers did not originate as a money grab on American soil.
No?
It came from a true artist living in Japan. It was concocted in the mind of a cartoonist, writer, and director known as the King of Manga. His name was Shitaro Ishinomori.
I'm so pleased to learn this.
Which is why I'm sipping on one of my favorite Japanese whiskeys tonight. According to Wikipedia, Ishinomori was one of the most prolific creators in the history of anime, tokusatsu, and Japanese superhero fiction. Tokusatsu is the Japanese term for any sort of live-action media that relies heavily on practical special effects.
I like that they have a name for it.
I thought that was nice too. I really appreciate how much effort they put into like everything that they do as a culture. Yeah. It's wonderful.
The words are more descriptive, even.
English is a limited language. We know this.
Yeah. English only goes so far.
And among many other TV series, including Cyborg 009 and the Kamen Rider series, one of Ishinomori's most successful and well-known tokusatsu was a show called Super Sentai. Have you heard of Super Sentai? That's never come up for you?
The name rings a bell, but I've certainly never seen it.
That was the same for me, and I finally understand why people talk about it. Because here's the downright wacky, complicated truth behind Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. The original idea was to adapt Super Sentai for American audiences, but what ended up happening was what's been described as an extensive localization of and revision of the original source material. In other words, all of the cheesy dialogue and everything to do with the teenagers and the drama is original to Power Rangers. But all of the fighting and the action sequences come from Super Sentai footage.
All right.
So anytime the teenagers morph into their power suits, the show itself literally morphs from the American production to the Japanese production. And that explains why the action sequences in the show always felt so strange
and long.
Out of place, and they're long, but it's also obviously Tokyo. Mm-hmm. You know, it's not California.
Fair.
It's not Angel Grove, California.
Very fair.
It's obviously a completely different country. And also why it feels so much older, because some of those seasons of Super Sentai go back to the 70s.
Wow. Obviously, it's like a different beast, but to me, there was almost something anachronistic about the film. Just, it felt kind of pieced together.
Yeah.
And that's probably part of why I feel so strongly that it was just pieces of other media that was popular.
Right. So it's important to say the movie did not do this. It was all original
footage. The movie
footage.
Didn't morph.
It did not morph.
What a ripoff.
But they probably did pull a lot of the same like cinematography style to make it appear as though it was cut from the same fabric of the show.
Exactly.
They probably did that on purpose.
Again, the whole don't fix what's not broken. Like
exactly.
They wanted it to be as close as they could. So why wouldn't that have inspired it?
It could have been an incredibly well-written, polished superhero masterpiece. But you know what? They didn't want that. They wanted to make money.
That's not what they were trying to make. Exactly.
They wanted to make money.
And that's my core problem with all of this, is that I wish that this weren't the thing that exploded, because it doesn't feel like there's a lot of heart involved when you get down to it. But
nice. It's pretty surface level. I can admit that. I got some distance from it. I'm old and I've grown emotionally. I can admit the Power Rangers was not peak, cinema or TV. But this whole idea, splicing together multiple different shows to make something new, it all blew my mind to read about and learn about. But it turns out that wasn't an uncommon practice when it came to putting Japanese shows in front of American audiences back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Let's say you're a producer living in the US and you know of a really great anime that you want to put on TV for kids. Well, ultimately what you're producing is the English dub of that anime. Right? So you start getting the project together, gauging interest, and the networks tell you that the anime doesn't have enough footage to meet basic contract requirements for American TV standards. Maybe the show only has enough footage for 20 episodes, but they want 26 for a full season. Or maybe each episode's only 15 minutes, but they need 20 because they can't have more than 10 minutes of commercials.
Right.
So you find another anime that has similar animation that you can use to supplement visuals to expand the episodes.
Whoa.
But then you realize you're stuck with the unique opportunity to make a brand new show using characters from both anime.
Oh my God.
And the plot won't suffer because you're producing the English dub. which means you can make the character say anything you want.
Oh no.
As long as you're smart about it.
Oh dear.
And I've heard people talk about this because I'll be like, yeah, I watched Dragon Ball Z growing up. They're like, but have you watched it with English subtitles?
Right.
Like, have you seen
the
the original?
The actual Dragon Ball Z? Yeah.
No.
It's a different animal.
It never occurred to me that would have been a thing that, shady American producers did
to make money. So you just watch what's there visually.
And it shouldn't have been allowed.
Yeah, what's the process of production like here?
Here's my thinking. It's a double-edged sword because one, it's unethical in my opinion, even though it was allowed legally.
I agree because that's the art and concept and
you buy the licensing, you put it on TV, it's all a money grab.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, how many great animes would we have missed? How many great pieces of Japanese culture would we have totally missed,
right?
As a society, as a country, if that had never been allowed in the first place?
It's just like, where's the line of appropriation and...
Yeah, it's hard.
Because you're taking something that they didn't intend to make.
Yeah.
Like you're vaguely associated with it. I'm not saying I'm, morally opposed either way, other than the fact that this is just a capitalistic situation.
I think it could have been done better.
I agree with you that there are generations of kids throughout all of these decades that benefit from being exposed to different ideas, thoughts, culture, and you can't help but have some of that overlap when you're using Japanese source material.
Yeah.
But holy shit.
I know.
I don't know how to feel.
The thing is, like, you have the system and you have the content. Why change the content to fit the system?
Right. Why can't you change the system to fit?
Adjust the system slightly to fit the content?
Why wouldn't you make this like adapt and be accessible for,
I don't know.
If you truly love this anime or this, what it is, you shouldn't want to change it that much either.
I know.
It's interesting. Do you alter everything about it to show it to new people and make more money? Or, do you make it play by your rules? And that feels like weirdly like colonialism and like
it's colonialism. Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. I mean, we use Dragon Ball Z as an example, though. I mean, Saban was instrumental in syndicating Dragon Ball Z and getting it over here. Mm-hmm. Without this practice, I never would have spent hours watching Dragon Ball Z.
Right?
It's just such a difficult conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really an anime person. We've talked about this on the show. I think it's beautiful. I think a lot of it's done really well.
Mm-hmm. I have an appreciation for it. I can understand it. It just my personal background and my exposure to anime wasn't great when I was really young. So
if any of you feel like you're an anime person, I'd be interested to hear your thoughts.
I would love to hear your thoughts. Please share.
Because I've also heard people say, well, what they did make was a great show. So I like both.
Yeah. And that's,
I've heard that before. So it's
valid.
Maybe it's our
Please, Darklings.
Our privilege over here.
Weigh in on this. Because we are anime ignorant as your ghost hosts.
But even if you are smart enough to pull this off and make it work, that doesn't mean the networks are going to want it. One of the many things the past and the present teaches us is that if you want your show to get made, the stars first need to align. So here's the breakdown of how the Power Rangers constellation found its shape. One of the earliest US gateways to anime and tokusatsu was a local television station in Honolulu, Hawaii, called Kiku TV, which is still in operation and predominantly airs Japanese and Filipino programming. One of the first, if not the actual first, tokusatsu, it aired back in the 70s, was Ishinomori's Android Keycater, which was successful enough that they began airing a few more of Ishinomori's works, i.e. Super Sentai. So, by the late 70s, Stan Lee wanted a piece of that Japanese superhero pie. So Toei and Marvel entered into an agreement to exchange concepts and characters and adapt them for their respective audiences. Toei came out on top with their extremely popular Tokusatsu Spider-Man series. Marvel, however, tried and failed to sell the Super Sentai Sun Vulcan series to various American networks. Nobody here wanted it. So this agreement ended, and everybody moved on with their lives until one Haim Saban traveled to Japan on a business trip, where the only show that was transmitted to the TV in his hotel room was another tokusatsu called Chudenshi Biomen. And becoming, quoting, fascinated by the concept of 5 people masked in spandex suits fighting monsters, Saban produced the pilot for the American adaptation of this show in 1985, which he simply called Bioman. And it was also promptly rejected by all major American networks. So all attempts were shelved until 1992, when Saban produced Marvel's animated X-Men series, and then once again pitched his idea to adapt one of Ishinomori's tokusatsu. And who greenlit this production? None other than Margaret Loesch,
Nice.
who had been the president of Marvel when Stan Lee originally tried to adapt Super Sentai. So back then, she was one of the people trying to get it made, but by 92, she was in a position to actually make it happen. And I think that's super cool.
Yeah, to have that connection and that tie, and then for her to see it again and be like, okay, the time has come now. It's Morphin time.
It's Morphin time. I heard that she actually staked her job on the success of Power Rangers. So I don't know if that's true or if that's just adding drama to the history or what, but apparently she fought for it. And they were like, if this doesn't work, Margaret,
It's on you.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, she knew what she was talking about.
And this cued one monumental brainstorm session among network executives where all the details were hashed out. And the rest is quite literally history. Fox Kids' 1993 Mighty Morphin Power Rangers season was adapted from Ishinomori's 92 Kyoryu Sentai Zairu Ranger, which loosely translates as Dinosaur Task Force Beast Rangers, according to the Power Rangers fandom wiki.
Everything is making so much more sense to me.
How I built this outline from the bottom up was just to answer all the questions I had about this show. And that one was a big one.
Yeah,
The name.
absolutely.
I was like, why the Rangers?
Yeah.
Why are they dinosaurs?
I was like, why are they dinosaurs? Why are they animals now? And all I could think is just branding for kids to buy merch. I didn't have a clue that it came from somewhere deeper, which makes me feel better.
Something. It came from a guy who just made a great show.
Yeah, I guess.
Shitaru Ishinomori.
I feel better already, Darklings. I do.
So this season that they adapted, Dinosaur Task Force Beast Rangers, this was the 16th installment of the Super Sentai series. And at least for a few years, each season of the Power Rangers franchise was based on another Super Sentai season, so they could continue using footage from those respective seasons and it would stay fresh. The first season aired 60 episodes, from August 28th, 1993 to May 23rd of 94. And the original series as a whole aired a total of 145 episodes until November 27th of 95. As far as I can tell, there have been 30.5 Power Rangers seasons made between 1993 and 2023.
That was a question I had.
With one updated re-release of the original season that consisted of about half of the episodes. And there's another one in development right now to be released next year.
So the first time the US saw the Power Rangers was in 1993.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
I guess that
Summer
timeline
of
tracks.
93.
I don't know why I felt like it was maybe even a little bit older than that.
I thought so too. I was surprised.
Probably because of all of this history it is actually built on.
Now, I'm not a Power Rangers scholar, so I don't know all the ways the franchise evolved over time. But what I do know is that each season usually featured new characters and often introduced new Ranger colors. But the very beginning of the original season, which is all that I've seen, follows the story of 5 teenagers with attitude living in the fictional town of Angel Grove, California. They all take karate lessons at the Angel Grove Youth Center, which is a gym and juice bar, provided by their friend and karate instructor, Jason, the all-American white male stereotype who typically wears a lot of red. There's also Zach, the black sidekick stereotype who typically wears a lot of black. Black Zach wears black.
Oh, God.
There's Trini, the smart Asian stereotype who wears a lot of yellow.
Jesus.
There's Kimberly, the ditzy girly girl stereotype who wears a lot of pink. Lastly, there's Billy, the nerdy, insecure white guy who stereotypically wears glasses and also a lot of blue.
Are the Power Rangers racist?
I think that's one of the biggest commentaries on it. It's I don't know that it's racism, but they
just lean into stereotypes.
They leaned into the stereotypes that they knew would be embraced.
Ugh.
I think their logic was, it's the 90s, who's going to give a shit?
God.
But also, it's going to help kids immediately know who these characters are. There's no doubt,
I can
no question.
recognize and understand, they each get a color, they each get a dino or an animal or what have you, and these are the associations, and you pick your favorite, and you are, because that's like you were talking about the playground games. That's
there's
all
one
I remember
for every nationality,
is that you get
right?
assigned a character.
There's a black one, there's white ones, there's an Asian
and that's
one.
it. God.
We'll get an Indian one later. We'll definitely introduce a Native American-esque bad boy later this season.
Hey.
Let's see what else we got. What else?
And see, watching this film, I had a question of why isn't there a green one? Why not a green dude? Where
Oh, so you want to learn about the Green Ranger?
I suppose I do.
There was one. In the first season, there was one.
I'm going to need you to tell us.
All right.
It just seemed like the color palette was missing something, you know?
I almost wonder if that wasn't part of their plan.
Ah.
But in order to get to the Green Ranger, first, the villains. When two unsuspecting astronauts open a space dumpster on the moon, they release an evil alien sorceress named Rita Repulsa and her Jim Henson-esque band of villains who plan to take over the Earth, prompting the giant Wizard of Oz-like face named Zordon to command his sentient robot Alpha.
Teleport to us 5 overbearing and over-emotional humans.
No, not that. Not teenagers.
That's correct, Alpha.
I was afraid of that.
Red Ranger Jason's Dino Zord is the Tyrannosaurus. Black Ranger Zax is the Mastodon. Yellow Ranger Trini's is the saber-toothed tiger. Pink Ranger Kimberly's is the pterodactyl. Blue Ranger Billy's is the triceratops.
That's the only one that I don't think quite fits, but they had to have a triceratops, I guess.
But why? Because the Mastodon and saber-toothed tiger weren't dinosaurs.
No.
And they went extinct only 10,000 years ago versus 66 million years ago.
The time periods are not lining up for that. So
did we just not know that many dinosaurs back in the 90s? We got a T-Rex.
I feel like we probably did.
Triceratops.
We probably had at least 5.
Pterodactyls are pretty cool.
Is there not a Brontosaurus?
They could have done that, maybe.
Yeah.
They could have done a raptor.
Velociraptor, yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
You know, when I learned they all died in the flood, I just kind of checked out.
Don't even get me started.
And all of these Dinozords can combine into one transformer-like mecha called the Megazord. Mecha are the giant robots that are very common in Japanese media, and they're typically depicted as humanoid walking machines that are piloted by humans. Mecha have been featured in Japanese media since the release of the 1940 manga Electric Octopus, but the modern mecha genre wasn't established until the 1972 anime Mazinger Z, which populated the concept of a human pilot controlling the giant robot from its internal cockpit. And because the mecha is one of the most popular motifs in Japanese cinema, the Power Rangers are almost always forced to summon their Zords and form the Megazord in order to take down the monster of the week. But they can't do it unless the threats become gigantic first, because that's one of the 3 basic rules that Zordon lays out in the first episode.
Oh God, okay.
That the Rangers must follow lest they lose the protection of their own power.
I should have known all of this.
The whole threat of the whole franchise is, what if we lose our power?
Yeah.
And that happens over and over and over again.
Yeah, I know it happened over and over again in the movie.
And these 3 rules are: keep your identity secret, never use your power for personal gain, and never escalate a battle unless the circumstances force you to.
And never wash the pants.
Never wash the pants.
Not the sister to the traveling pants.
Laces out. It's also a convenient way to have them run through their entire arsenal of weapons and exhaust all their resources before they make the big, robot.
Yeah.
It adds to the plot. And not the plot, you know what I mean? It adds to the time link.
Well, it's like the ritual. It's like
it's a ritual.
Yeah.
But it also is ooh, now they all have weapons. We could sell the weapons.
Right. Yes.
We can market those to kids. We'll market weapons to kids.
That is what I kept noticing.
Killing utensils.
Because it was they have weapons and they have dinosaurs and they have colors and they have suits and they have animals. And I was like, all of this is just more things for parents to buy children.
Oh, man.
That's all I could see as I was watching it, which is why I judged it so harshly, if I'm being honest.
That was the angle.
That's why I feel the way I feel, because it just felt like
that was it.
Yeah, just more channels.
Over
funds.
billion in toy
6
sales
billion funds
alone.
Yeah.
Just in 8 years. In only 8 years.
And here's the other thing. So you've got all these facets of each Ranger that you can obsess over and identify with, but then you also have the club is always growing. Like you said, anybody can be a Power Ranger.
That's right.
So if you really like this Power Ranger, it's like Doctor Who. It's like, you like, this is your favorite Doctor. No, this is my favorite Doctor. No, this is my favorite Pink Ranger. You kind of have that conversation too. So that adds again to the merch that you can purchase.
Absolutely.
And manufacture.
You can have the brunette Pink Ranger and the blonde Pink Ranger. You can have both.
Yeah. And then it leads to all kinds of discourse for years.
You can have the white Black Ranger and you can have the Black Ranger.
Yeah.
Collect them all, Collect all the nationalities.
We gotta
collect all these colors,
Gotta catch them all.
And speaking of collecting all those colors, there's one more we have to add to the rainbow.
Green.
In season 1, when these teens are routinely successful in thwarting Rita Repulsa's attempts to take over the world.
If it weren't for you kids and your
Yeah,
colorful clothing.
Rita Repulsa ultimately shifts her tactics to employing her own Power Ranger. You see, there's this bad boy in town named Tommy, whose karate skills outmatch Jason's at the Angel Grove martial arts tournament. Rita kidnaps Tommy and brainwashes him into becoming the Green Ranger,
Whoa.
who is nearly strong enough to defeat the Power Rangers by himself. His dino is a dragon.
Of course it is.
The Green Dragon. And when Rita's spell over him is ultimately broken, the Green Ranger joins the others in their attempts to defeat Rita, causing her to strip away the power she gave him. Ultimately, Zordon restores Tommy's powers until Season 2, when the new villain, Lord Zed, succeeds in removing his powers once and for all, prompting Zordon and Alpha to secretly create a brand new Power Ranger for Tommy to become. This is, of course, the White Ranger.
Oh.
Because the White Ranger will save us all.
Woof.
In case you didn't know that.
Yeah, that's not
The white one.
not layered and pointed and allegorical in a really gross way.
Hey, look, I don't see color, you know?
We all do. That's why we're here.
Meanwhile, in Season 2, the teens with attitude attend the Angel Grove Team Ninja Trials and make friends with 3 new teenagers from out of town, Rocky, Adam, and Aisha, who are forced by circumstances to become allies of the Power Rangers. But this production was non-union, and the pay sucked. So when the actors who played Jason, Zach, and Trini decided to leave the show due to pay disputes and harsh working conditions, their characters are conveniently sent to Geneva, Switzerland to represent Angel Grove at the World Peace Conference.
Model UN?
Yep.
Ah.
And the remaining Power Rangers choose Rocky, Adam, and Aisha to become the new Red, Black, and Yellow Rangers respectively.
Wow.
And these are the characters, along with their same actors, who appear as the Power Rangers in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie, which takes place between Season 2 and Season 3 of the original series.
Glad we cleared that up.
Yeah, that's why I went through all that, just to get to the actors and the characters for the movie.
Yeah.
Rocky as the Red Ranger, Adam as the Black, Aisha as the Yellow, Kimberly as the Pink, Billy as the Blue, and Tommy as the White. And all together they take on a villain who proves much more formidable than Rita Repulsa and Lord Zed combined, a morphological being who ruled Earth 6,000 years ago.
Dun dun dun.
The galactically feared, globally reviled, universally despised, purple
Grinch.
Ivan Ooze.
Ivan Ooze.
No, Kaylin, the Grinch is green. Ivan Ooze is purple.
Yeah,
We've been
I know.
over this.
So different.
Rocky was played by Steve Cardenas. His acting career is predominantly comprised of Power Rangers credits, but he's been involved in the martial arts since he was 12.
Aw. That's like the thing. You're in the martial arts, you're 12 years old, and you become a Power Ranger. Like he lived the thing that you do.
Well, yeah, Power Rangers weren't really a thing when he was 12,
Fair.
but he did get to do it.
Still, he lived the timeline.
That's true. He's a 5th degree black belt in Taekwondo and a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And he owns his own jiu-jitsu studio in Burbank, California called Force Balance BJJ.
Shout out to the gym.
Yeah, go get you a Brazilian
Yeah.
at BJJ.
You guys didn't see my eyes roll, but they did.
Adam was played by Johnny Yong Bosch, who landed a role in a redub of the 1988 anime feature film Akira, which made him relatively famous before ever stepping into the spandex of the Black Ranger. He accumulated 473 credits throughout his career,
Whoa.
spanning over 4 decades, and voiced significant characters in dozens of franchises over the years, including Sailor Moon, Naruto, Mortal Kombat, Bleach, and Resident Evil. Aisha was played by Karen Ashley, whose acting career is also mostly comprised of Power Rangers credits, although she began in music as part of the girl group Crush
Cute.
and beat out over 10,000 others who auditioned to become the next Yellow Ranger.
Wow.
Kimberly, as we all know, was played by Amy Jo Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
Before Power Rangers, her background was actually in gymnastics, which explains her skills on the balance beam in the first episode. Her film and acting career began with the Power Rangers, but that's far from where it ended. She went on to act in 50 episodes of Felicity and 75 in Flashpoint, and she played the title character in Susie Q.
Susie Q. Which is all I could think when I watched this movie.
You're like, hey, it's Susie.
And I should have thought of it earlier when you asked.
She's also a talented musician and stage actress. And later on, she broke out into writing and directing as well. Directing one episode of Superman and Lois and winning awards for her feature, The Space Between, and 2 of her short films, titled Lines and Bent. She moved to Toronto later in life and became a Canadian citizen. Lucky.
She seems vaguely Canadian.
She also left the show midway through the 3rd season for the same reasons her co-stars did in season 2, and she has since expressed a regret that they all didn't do it at the same time. Because maybe, just maybe, the show would have been flipped into a union production and given them all a chance to renegotiate their contracts.
Wow.
Billy was played by David Yost, whose career was also mostly comprised of Power Rangers credits, but he moved into producing for a few years, which included a couple documentaries and even a few segments of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Although he also left the show eventually due to unfair pay, his main complaint was how he was treated on set by production staff for being homosexual.
Wow.
It bothered him so much, he actually voluntarily subjected himself to conversion therapy, which was unsuccessful.
Yeah, you think?
Of course it was.
What a guy. That's awful.
Poor guy.
So there was that much homophobia that was just out loud, rampant on set, which is just...
It gave him such a complex, he tried to cure it.
Wow.
Because he was like, maybe they're right.
Wow.
I mean, I feel bad for the guy. I really do.
That's horrific.
And despite all this, David stuck around for a few more seasons, longer than any of the original Rangers, and grew into more of a mentor-like character for the new, younger Rangers.
Wow.
Tommy was played by Jason David Frank, who had one acting credit prior to Power Rangers, which is a very similar show called VR Troopers, which was also produced by Haim Saban. This was about 3 teenagers who gain powers from virtual reality to fight evil.
I could see that being a modern show.
Honestly, yeah. Jason had just as many Power Rangers credits as all the others, as well as 8 episodes of Sweet Valley High, a cameo appearance in Family Matters, and he voiced Emissary in 8 episodes of Transformers: Titans Return. He also created, produced, and starred in a feature film called Legend of the White Dragon, which feels like an unregistered Power Rangers extended universe concept. He also executive produced one of Amy Jo Johnson's short films, so I think they stayed close over the years, especially considering that she's been very public and honest about how devastated she was when he took his own life back in 2022, after years of struggling with depression.
Man, yeah, I forgot to connect that.
I heard about that and I forgot about it too until doing this. I was like, oh yeah. Because, 22 doesn't feel like 3 years ago. It feels like last week.
It doesn't, yeah.
Now, we all know my favorite Ranger growing up was the original Red Ranger Jason, but the world's favorite Ranger is Tommy. He was only supposed to be in 10 episodes, but he was so popular that the creators had no choice but to keep him in the show, which led to him being in more episodes than any other actor and Morphin into more colors than any other Ranger. In his time on the show, Tommy went from the Green Ranger to the White Ranger, the Red Zeo Ranger, the Red Turbo Ranger, and eventually the Black Dino Thunder Ranger. He also had decades of experience in martial arts, landing him in the World Karate Union Hall of Fame. And he even created his own style of martial arts called Tosu Kundo. He was an 8th degree black belt in American karate, a purple belt in Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and he was named a master of Muay Thai in 2013.
Wow.
And that same year, he also broke the Guinness World Record for most 1-inch pine boards broken during a skydiving free fall.
Oh my God.
Which I found especially poignant because it was acting in the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie that first introduced him to skydiving. Yeah.
Okay.
The guy lived a Power Ranger lifestyle.
He did, clearly. Several of them.
He was an adventure seeker his entire life, and he shared many of those experiences with his fans in his own reality TV show called My Morphin Life, which ran for 4 seasons.
Wow.
So, yet another example of how mental illness does not discriminate.
Nope.
And neither should we. Because misery is not reserved for those who have nothing, any more than happiness is destined for those who have everything.
Amen.
So rest in peace, Jason.
Yeah.
You were the inspiration to young Rangers everywhere.
Glad you did it.
Me too.
No one could have done it like you.
And just so we don't leave off on too sad of a note, I got some more production details for us.
Good thing. We all need them today.
The show may have been filmed on location around Santa Clarita and Los Angeles, but for some reason unknown to me, the 1995 movie was filmed in Australia, where production moved for approximately 4 months.
Yeah, it didn't quite look like California to me.
No, not quite.
Something
it was much
different.
Bigger, better, more beautiful for some reason.
The sky was bluer and
The water was greener. I'm not sure if this means that they filmed the movie and parts of season 3 at the same time in Australia, but they both came out in the summer of 95. So pretty good chance of some crossover there. I don't know.
yeah, the Warrior Planet also looked like Australia.
You know that they used
That was not
the coast,
US.
the Australian coast for that exotic planet with that exotic woman.
Erotic? No, exotic.
The erotic planet.
Oh, sorry. I didn't
Hey,
couldn't tell which thing you
I
said.
got a whole lot to say about that. Specifically, the movie filmed in Bombo Quarry, Sydney, and Queensland, where they naturally pulled from local resources, as we're saying, with the locations and the women, namely Gabrielle Fitzpatrick, the Australian actress who played Dulcia.
There we are.
Not to mention the entire creation of the musical score, which was composed by New Zealand musician Graham Revell, who also scored The Crow, From Dusk Till Dawn, The Craft, Child's Play 2, Bride of Chucky, Ghost in the Machine, Spawn, Open Water, Lara Croft, Tomb Raider, Daredevil, Freddy vs. Jason, The Fog, Pineapple Express, Sin City, etc., etc.
I have thoughts on the music, and none of them are that the music was bad. Just that the music was trying to reach a depth and a height and a breadth and a width that maybe the dialogue didn't. But that's for later.
Hey, you know how it goes.
I do.
It was conducted by orchestrator Tim Simonek and performed by the West Australian Symphony Orchestra. And that soundtrack was some mid-90s action gold, featuring some of the biggest names of the time. Snap, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Shampoo, Devo, they might be giants. But the piece de resistance is Go Go Power Rangers, which was written and originally performed by Ron Wasserman under the name Aaron Waters, the Mighty Raw. It was the theme song for the original 3 seasons, and it was eventually re-recorded by Noam Kaniel for the 18th season of the franchise in 2011. But long before that, it was re-recorded for the 1995 film under a supergroup named the Power Rangers Orchestra.
The Power Rangers Black Thunder Dino Technicolor Orchestra. Starring the Power Rangers.
Starring the Power Rangers.
Mighty Morphin.
I'm surprised they didn't do a music video with the Power Rangers playing instruments and
Yeah,
singing,
me
because you wouldn't
too.
be able to tell what they're doing.
Missed opportunity.
And on that pretty rock and roll note, that's where we're going to leave off for tonight.
Hey,
Next week,
rock on.
we're going to skydive deep into this
I got
film
the
to
power.
unearth the sticky purple goop of Ivan Ooze, do our gosh damnedest to hash out some of the ancient Power Rangers mythos,
Gosh damn
and
it.
confront one of the most universal childhood fears, the death of our parents.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, well, I know that I said I had a lot of feelings about the inadequacy, perhaps. Maybe I didn't say it out loud yet. I'm getting there. And whether or not it would fit on our show. But I think you're making some good points.
I'm trying.
Like I said, my mind is open.
I'm trying.
Learning all of this has made me, if not fully appreciate, at least respect the journey that the concept took from start to finish.
Yes,
and
me too.
honestly,
Me too.
that's all we can ask for on a show like ours, you know?
That's right. It's just getting into the past and, digging up those old bones and figuring out
Education.
how the stuff got made, who made it, why it was made. Even if the ultimate goal was money, sometimes.
Even if the answer is to make a shitload of money.
the result was still a kick-ass TV show that everybody loved and everybody bought the merch, and I was right there. I was part of it. I wanted all of it. I did.
So let us know, Darklings. Are you on Christian's side? Did you have all the Power Rangers merch? Who was your ranger? Who did they have you play on the playground? I hope it wasn't Ivan Ooze. Or were you more like me? Did you kind of sidestep the whole thing? Not entirely out of judgment, but kind of.
Yeah.
Let us know. Let us know how you feel, because we care about that sort of thing.
Hey, there's no wrong way to feel about the Power Rangers.
No. And like I said, I'm right here along with the rest of you and excited to learn more, honestly.
But if you do hate them, then I guess you just hate color, You hate dinosaurs.
You hate imagination.
You hate imagination. You hate childhood. You hate
Anime.
freedom.
Japanese
You hate
culture.
anime. Yeah, as a whole. You hate. Oh, I'm glad we got there. That's all I have for tonight. Hope it was worth it. I really hope you guys are ready for some spooky nonsense this year. We have a lot of fun things
We
planned.
promise it's going to get spookier than the Power Rangers.
No. We're gonna eat as much of that purple goo as we can next week. No. Oh yeah, I don't know if we said this or not, but we are going week to week.
Yeah, we're going to try anyway.
So for the next at least,
this is scary. This is
I
a
don't know,
feat.
5-6 weeks.
Oh boy.
Doing our damnedest.
Yeah. If you're not hearing this on a week-to-week basis, something happened. And it wasn't good.
Don't scare them. Don't scare our children like that.
Sorry, Darklings. Oh, it's all about scariness. Scaring each other up in here.
Well, if you want some more spookiness in your life, I'm going to do my other gosh damnedest to get some more ghost stories up there for the spooky season on our Patreon. If you would like to explore those from a few years ago, and as well as everything else we have, bonus content, etc.,
Yeah.
and go to patreon.com/TPD podcast, where you can listen to our voices say things that didn't make it on the air.
That's right.
They're too hot.
Yep. Anything we cut.
Those takes were too hot, too
Mics were
controversial.
too hot, you know.
Flaming mics.
And we do have one patron to thank since our last time thanking patrons. Thank you, Kai J, for being with us.
Thanks, Kai.
We also loved your email.
Yeah, thank you for your email. Sorry I
appreciate
haven't
you.
responded yet. Sincerely, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for being with us.
If anybody else wants to say what's up, you can also send us an email at that'sprettydarkpodcast@gmail.com. That'd be pretty cool.
I agree.
Send us your thoughts.
You can also find us on social media at That's Pretty Dark Podcast, on Instagram at That's Pretty Dark, on TikTok. And yeah, we're just hanging out there. Mostly just letting you know about the episodes right now, but we want to get some more content in there for your eyes and ears also, as usual.
Gotta do it.
As always, thank you, Christian, for pulling the info together. Thank you, Editing Mason, for all the work you do behind the scenes, sometimes to turn things around pretty damn quickly.
Thanks, pal.
And gear up to you and to everyone else, because we hope to be getting plenty of content into your ears this spooky season.
We're gonna get oozy. We're gonna get gooey. We're gonna get nurple. We're gonna get purple. It's gonna be awesome. Can't wait.
We'll see you there.
Thanks for listening, guys. Thank you for listening, Caitlin, and not throwing your headphones out the window.
Like I said, I'm here for it.
Maybe we'll make it through another one
Perhaps.
without destroying our technology. Hopefully the Power Rangers can do the same. They're not always so lucky. All right, gotta go summon the Zord.
Yeah, what's your dino?
Ask me my color and my dino next time.
Keep teasing.
Next time.
Fair enough.
That's Pretty Dark Podcast is produced by Kaylin Andrews and me, Christian Baxter Mott.
With music by Jonathan Simmons and cover design by Halftone Horror.
You can support our show by supporting our sponsors, or go to patreon.com/TPD podcast to unlock all the Pretty Dark bonus content we have in store.
Please share your experiences and let us know what shows, films, or villains still haunt you from childhood on our socials or at that'sprettydarkpodcast@gmail.com.
For all other information, visit our website, that'sprettydark.com.
Remember, you're never really alone.
So, until next time, sweet dreams, everyone.